are using emails? Only 3-4. So, only 3-4 guys are using emails. It's a bad question. Yeah. So how many of you are using Google emails? It's a bad question. So how many of you are using Linux emails? Few. So what we are going to discuss here is a small hack. Actually, we did recently. So we are going to use both Google and Linux mail server. So that is a small hack. Actually, it's after a big discussion, we thought actually we should have a small topic to cover. Okay. So this is the typical Linux infrastructure, email infrastructure. So you will have a DNS setup which is MX record. MX record is nothing but it's points to the email server. So that is what. Then next is a MTA service. MTA service which for example it's a postfix is an MTA service which take the emails and pass it to MDA. So in a email in a Linux email, docot is a MDA service which pick up the emails from MTA and store it in a mailbox in the server. Actually, that is the typical Linux email service. So then shall we? This is a split email delivery in a Linux system. So if we have two email servers, so we can store the mailboxes in both servers. For example, email server 1 also will have 10 mailboxes, and email server 2 can have 80 or 90 mailboxes. So so that is called the split delivery. So you are when email comes to the say for example a user in second email server. So first here the first email server is what interfacing the outside. So the first email server receive the emails, check where is the emails stored. Then if it is on the second email server, it pass the mail to the second emails. That is only the split email delivery. But this is not what our interesting topic. So this both the emails. Linux email servers are in our control, and so nothing much we are going to achieve with all both the email servers are in our control, so not much thing. So once if we compare with G Suite and Linux server, so here we are going to achieve something with cost, something with the flexibility. That is what my topic. So here you can see that we are going to keep some of the mails in G Suite, some of the mails in iRead Mail. iRead Mail is a Linux mail service. Have you ever used any iRead Mail service anywhere? You have used iRead Mail actually. So anybody used the split mail service? So here what we are going to discuss is we'll keep some of the mailboxes in iRead Mail, some of the mailboxes in Google. We'll see what are the advantages of G Suite. So G Suite is nothing but a Google Mail service. So it's a fully managed email service. It has powerful features and apps. So many apps you can use from along with the email. You can use Docs, you can use Excel, all online. Then so many apps integrated with Google. So the last thing is it has very good anti-spam and antivirus protection. Correct. So Google. So if you use Google mailboxes, you can see that on your inbox you won't be able to see much spams. They tag it and keep it in a separate boxes. So we'll compare the advantages of Linux mail server. So in our case, we will use iRead Mail. So we can use any other mail service as well. So, first and the foremost advantage is it's an open source. And what is the advantages of open source? You have complete control over the system. And so once it is an open source, again lowest cost per mailbox, correct? And since it is in your server, you can enforce all your policies, from which IP you need to access, what are the public IPs you need to expose, all things you can do it. And you can also secure the access only from particular networks, so your office network. So that is the advantage of using iRed Mail. So with the split delivery, we can use our combinedly we can get secure email server, email system. Uh, so we can use it for protecting your system from spam and viruses. That is the first option we are going to check it. The second option is some of you can use. We can keep the cost and features combinedly actually. So when you use G Suite, you are getting all the features. When you use iRed Mail, you are getting cost advantage. So we are going to combine these both the options. So that is the second thing we are going to cover. Then the third one is you can use this thing for redundancy or distributed system setups, like you have branches in Bangalore, you have branch in Chennai, you can use the split delivery system for that. Also you can use split delivery system for migrating your email server. So when you are going to upgrade your email server hardware or you are going to upgrade your software, so that time also you can use a split delivery system without having a downtime. So the other thing is, if your organization if is taken over by some other organization, you want to change the domains domain name, that time also you can use split delivery systems. We are going to cover this mainly the 4 or 5 advantages separately. So the first is split delivery for security. In this case, we are going to keep only the G Suite admin in your G Suite. Remaining all mailboxes, we will keep it in iRed Mail, correct? Why this is, you know that Google's anti-spam and antivirus is great. Nothing can be compared with Google anti-spam and antivirus compared to the iRed Mail or thing. And there is no, Google is not charging anything extra for anti-spam solution. So Google is charging for mailboxes, not for anti-spam solution. Another thing is you can keep your mail server even if it is off for nearly 7 days. Still Google is going to store your mailboxes and it will wait for till up to 7 days. As per the documentation, even up to 7 days Google will store the mailboxes mails in their mail server. Then even if only after 7 days only it is going to bounce back. So you can have a troubleshooting or maintenance of your Linux mail server with Google as the gateway. So let us compare. If you have an anti-spam solution in house, how much will be the cost? If you have so for example, if you there are multiple players in the market like Barracuda Networks and so they normally charge nearly 1.5 lakhs to 10 lakhs for an anti-spam gateway appliance. So how much is going to it cost with the split delivery? Any guess? So instead of using an appliance solution, so you are going to use Google's gateway as input and you are going to use iRed Mail as your main mail server. So how much to cost? Any guess? So it costs only 150 rupees per month compared to the other solutions. How? So how we can achieve that is mainly you are going to keep only one mailbox, you are going to buy only one mailbox from the Google. So, which you are going to use it as your admin mailbox. So, once the mails comes, Google will G Suite will inspect all anti-spam, antivirus scams, and there is an option routes to pass it to the destination mail server. So, ultimately you can reduce your in-house anti-spam, or you can just remove the in-house anti-spam solution, and you can put you can make the MX record to Google, and you can achieve this. So, the second advantage we are going to cover is with mix and match. So, typical organization, you will have roaming users, you will have management, then you have end users who will be using only Outlook. So, to reduce the cost, so we will use the 80-20 rule. So, for example, we can consider that an organization with 100 mailboxes. So, we will keep 80 mailboxes on iRed Mail and 20 mailboxes on G Suite. So, probably most of the management, they prefer to use Google, they will be roaming and they want to have all the access. But if the end user is only a Outlook user, he is going to use only POP3 or IMAP. So, then it does not make to give him the full G Suite access, correct. So, you can keep that mailboxes in iRed Mail or Linux mail server, and the remaining users or top management or roaming users, you can keep it in G Suite. So, we will just compare that price advantage. So, here if 100 G Suite users, the G Suite is charging nearly 150 rupees per mailbox. So, then this is going to be 15,000 per month, correct. So, and if we just take iRed Mail, cost of the iRed Mail mailboxes just 75, it will be in a typical practical setup, it will be much lesser than 75 rupees, but we sell it with 75 rupees per mailbox. So, when you keep 80 mailboxes in iRed Mail and 20 mailboxes in Google, the cost is going to be around 9,000 rupees per month, correct. So, you are directly saving nearly 40% of your recurring cost. So, with it's a mix and match. The another advantage of split delivery is with distributed servers. So, when you have, so I mentioned when you have multiple branches, like you have branches in Chennai, you can have branches in Mumbai, and all, you can keep say for example, your one server is in Mumbai and the another server is in Chennai, you can still use MX record pointing to G Suite and redirect your mailboxes according to subdomain, according to groups, any regular expression we can use it for the rules. Or we can use any of the logical distribution and so. So, this will be the typical architecture of split delivery with the distributed servers. So, you will be, so your MX will be pointing to G Suite. From the G Suite you will have a rules or routes. So, whether it's if user A is on iRed Mail 1, actually you can forward the route to iRed Mail 1 server, and if the user is on iRed Mail 2, so the G Suite can forward it to second servers, and between the iRed Mails we can always use transport maps and forward the mails, correct. So, another advantage I mentioned is while migrating your server from one to another. This is again the same case. So, when you, so if you have 100 mailboxes while migrating, setting up a new server, you can first move the first user to the second server and test things are working fine, then you slowly one by one the other users, 99 users, you can move it without have a single downtime. Otherwise, what is going to happen, you need to take downtime, you needed to inform all the users, all things you can avoid by with using a G Suite split delivery rules or thing. So we just covered the advantages. Now we need to see how we can do this thing with the configuration changes. So the first thing what you need to define is you need to define your email server in G Suite. You need to, so on your G Suite admin panel you need to add it as a host mail server. So you need to define your IP address, you need to define your ports, that's all. So once it is defined, you can make the routes. So this is the typical routing option available in G Suite admin panel. So by default G Suite will deliver it locally. So instead of the default delivery methods, you are going to change it to route to the particular mail server. So in our this case it is the Linux mail server. It can be iRedMail, it can be any other Linux server, it can be any other server in fact. So in case if you want to have anti-spam protection, you can also use that. Then in the initial stage you may not want to send the bounces to your end sender. So that case you can suppress the bounces, that option also. So the next thing you need to do it on the G Suite is perform the action only on a recognized address. This option you need to select, correct. So if you are going to keep say for 10 mailboxes in G Suite and the remaining 80 mailboxes in your Linux server, so if you perform the action on all the mailboxes, then your G Suite users won't get mails, correct. You need to select this option as well. So we need to again, so once you have the G Suite server and your Linux server, so your G Suite will with the first option G Suite will be sending the mails to the Linux server. So but in you have 10 users or 20 users in G Suite, they need to receive the mails, local mails. So for that we need to make these changes. You need to define your email server as a SMTP relay service. This option need to be allowed, and these are all the options you need to select. So the first option is very important, allowed senders. You need to select only the address. So for example, if your domain is abc.com, so only that addresses you should allow it. So otherwise what G Suite has a restriction on sending limits. So the G Suite is not having any restriction on incoming mails, but G Suite has a restriction on outside mails. So this option is important. Only accept mail from the specified IP address. This is your email server, Linux mail server IP address. Allow IP address. What are the domains you need to allow? That you need to select require. So the other last two options are whether to use authentication to relay the mails or not, and the last option is whether to use encryption or not. These both are mandatory. So I have tried it without authentication or encryption. Google won't accept your mails. So now we need to see the what are the changes we need to make it on iRedMail. So on iRedMail you are typically iRedMail use postfix as the service, and on the postfix you need to enable the authentication for G Suite. So for example, if your G Suite user is say abc at abc.com, so then you need to define that username and password in SASL password file. So for your Linux server to authenticate to G Suite, correct. So without that authentication, it won't G Suite will not accept the mails from the Linux server, and your mails will be bouncing back. So then the other options you need to make it on iRedMail is uh, uh, SMTP relay settings, you need to define it on per mailbox. Say for example, you have a user 1 in G Suite and you want to relay from a Linux mail server to G Suite, then you need to create a dummy user in your iRed mail or Linux mail server, and you need to define this relay options in G Suite. So, here you need to use smtp relay at gmail.com, that is the URL you need to use, and by either you can use, if you are not using encryption, you can use 25, and with SSL TLS you need to use port 587. So, that is the port you need to use. And another complexity is going to be when G Suite is forwarding the mails to iRed mail or Linux server. So, there is a good probability that it may mark it as a rejection or mark it as a spam, or the chances are there. So, to avoid that thing, so we can find out all the Google SMTP relay IPs, then we can add it in G Suite ignore IPs. So, whatever the mails forwarded from G Suite to iRed mail, so it won't mark it as a, it won't reject the emails, and it will accept. So, this need to be added it in your fail to ban jail.local, so that all the mails will be accepted from your G Suite. So, while doing this split delivery, you should not use its trial period. So, what happens in the trial period, you have a lot of restriction on sending and receiving to the G Suite. So, what we need to do is, we need to just either update it with a payment, or you just need to pay it with $30. So, that is what G Suite recommends. So, once you make the small payment of $30, minimum $30, then your trial will be, it internally it will consider it as a trial is over, and it will be a total production system. And during the production systems, SMTP relay is around 2000 emails between per user accounts. So, during and it is very much below 500 during your trial period. So, during the trial period, you should not use your SMTP, your dual delivery options. So, that is very important. Per user actually. So, what here what we are doing is, you can see that so we are communicating back to G Suite, correct. So, you have some users in G Suite and some users in Linux mail server. So, between the communication, you need to use one account of G Suite.
Okay.
So, that account will be using at least 2000.
So, this comes when there are two servers.
No, it is not only two server, even if it is single server, so you can see
2000 is a limit per day or per month, or what is the
per user per day.
Per user per day.
Yes, yes, that is the limit.
And one more question I had, if some customer wants to keep the message on G Suite and as well as on iRed, is it possible?
Yeah, it is possible actually. So, what happens? Yeah, so what happens on per mailbox, you can have a forward rule.
Okay.
So, that will keep to another mailbox, so you can forward that.
Okay.
That is possible.
And there is some anti-spam in iRed mail also, that is not good enough?
Yeah, when compared to G Suite anti-spam, so you can say that you are not capable to maintain like a data center anti-spam solution. So, you are getting it without any charges. So, better use.
What about the support for iRed mail? They charge for the support, right? So,
yes, iRed mail typically they charge $100 per hour actually. So, that is only when you are getting into issues. Otherwise, that
in
is
case like we buy the solution through you, so you support the iRed mail, or the iRed mail support has to be purchased separately?
so we yeah we support. We have we have deployed iron mail in many customer places, and we
So
can
most of the issues you
so
can
we will
resolve
be
at
able
your.
to, so nearly 80%, 80 to 90% of the issues we will be able to cover it. Still, iron mail developers, we may have to approach in case we are getting into code level issues.
Okay. Thank you.
Otherwise,
Thank you.